Companies don't have clear objectives for their employees. They have a job description. They don't have clear objectives for those employees, right? So the like a way for companies to have people be able to work at home and still be able to manage what they do is for them to have clear objectives for their employees.
What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast or webcast, because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy, and as we start off every show, that's with gratitude. I want to say thank you. Special shout out to all the new members from the MDC strategy group that is growing like crazy with our new announcements in the MDC. Shout out to everybody from By the Hood University, all the youth from the By the Hood ownership camp. Camp this weekend was amazing. Looking forward to the last couple weeks to finish out this summer strong. Just want to say overall thank you to anybody that supports what we got going on. I got my brother, my partner in crime, Cole. What's up, good brother?
Chilling, man. Living La Vida Loca. Every day above ground's a good day. So, complaining ain't gonna work.
This is absolutely factual. And this is our podcast, our weekly podcast. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, the day we drop, we late as we've been lately during the camp season because we've been working on the camp, but we are still dropping every Wednesday nonetheless. Our new format, where we come on and talk about things that revolve around finance or black wealth. Today is the past couple of weeks, we got another article to talk about and another issue that I want to really get feedback from. So when you guys been tweeting me, sending me, well, let me stop saying tweet, sending threads, I'm saying it's a new wave, but I'm still getting like tweets and comments about some of our topics. The topic we did, I don't know, it was last pod a couple weeks ago. We got a lot of comments about, which was your spouse being on the same page with you. That seemingly resonated with a lot of folks. So, keep up the good fight out there, because we got more comments like on IG inboxes and other stuff about that specific episode. So that one resonated with some folks. Not sure how today's topic will, but I'm pretty sure it will, touch on some people pause about what's going on in their personal life. But let me get to the article real quick. It's not necessarily about this specific article. It's about a bigger topic, right? So for those that are watching the video, you'll be able to see the article. For everybody else listening on the audio, and shout out to all our audio listeners, because that's where the majority of our listeners come from. I'll put the link in the description for the article, but I'll read a little bit of it. And this is from Business Insider. And what it says is this: a worker is quitting a six-figure job so she won't have to return to the office full-time. She says she's a victim of her boss's productivity paranoia, and she says, look, I don't need to be in an office to do my work. She's 53 years old, and she was able to work from home, but now she's been asked to work 5 days a week in the office, and she says, look, I'd rather leave the job overall. For over a year, she's worked 3 days at home and 2 in her office, a perfect balance, she says, for her. But now she feels like she'd rather find a job that pays less than keep going in the office for 5 days a week. This article is about her specific situations, but the conversation I want to have, Corey, is not about, shout out to Felicia. What was her name, right? Felicia. Shout out to Felicia. Hope all is well. It's not about Felicia's specific story, but more about what's going on in the workplace, because I've seen it on both sides. I've seen people who are at the executive level talk about productivity, but I've also seen workers say, look, I get just as much, if not more, work done working from home. And just to add a little bit more to the conversation, some of my friends who work at the executive level say, yo, the people that work, right? So what they tell me is the people that work when they're in the office, it's the what is it? Pareto's principle, always at play, right? Is always at play. The people that are going to do the work do just as much.
It no matter where.
Exactly. So I've heard that as a commentary on the whole idea of work from home. But what is your thought when you see this article or this phenomenon in general? That's the first question. And I have another question after that I want to ask you, as well as anybody listening or viewing, because this made me think about something. What's your thoughts?
Right. So I can feel Felicia's pain. The reason why I don't like working jobs is because I don't like to travel to get to them. Right. So it's not the work. I don't have any problem with doing any kind of work.
So you believe that more people dislike their commute than dislike their job?
Yep. I 100% believe that.
Okay.
Um, I know when I was teaching from home, I would have never left that job. But it wasn't um it wasn't good for the kids because kids need socialization. So I understood why they brought us back. You know, I didn't have an office job per se. Um, you have a job where social skills are a part of growth and learning. And
Mm-hmm.
so um, I was dismayed, but not. I completely understood why they brought us back because you know the children need to be around each other. Um,
But overall, though, getting into the topic overall, what I
for
want
the
to
for
know,
the topic overall,
I want to know, do
um,
you think that it's this whole idea of, like she said, her boss is paranoia, like productivity paranoia?
oh, that's 100% a thing.
That's what she called it, productivity paranoia. Do you think
Because there's a lot of
productivity paranoia?
micromanagers out there. There's productivity paranoia when you in the office.
It's funny because I've heard someone else say that is also proof that they are trying to justify their existence and their salary,
Yeah,
and it's more difficult for them to do when
if
they're
you
not
sitting at home.
micromanaging. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think that it's funny because I'm one of the conferences that I often speak at is a ValTech conference. It's a real estate valuation technologist conference, and I've spoken at the conference several times. So, one of the things this upcoming next year, I'm actually on the board of the planning committee for the overall conference now. They asked me to be a part of the board. One of the topics that they're creating content for are skills that managers need to manage from home versus the office, right? Is it a different skill set? What are some of the things like? So it's basically people are creating um, just material and educational things surrounding the idea of managing people from a distance. Like, so it's its own like thing now. But what's interesting is this whole idea of paranoia. That's the thing that I thought that was most interesting about this, because I've seen people like on CNBC. I watch these guys who executives, and they're like, "What are people doing?" I've seen a couple companies make it so you have to literally be on camera from the time your day starts to when you leave, with like breaks in between. I'm like, yo, that's more stringent than when people are in the office.
Yeah, that's silliness.
So,
Um,
but I think
so
one of the things you said is interesting, though, that you think more people hate their commute than hate the job. I think that's very, very interesting.
yeah, because most people are good at their job, right? I'm gonna say most people. I mean, you know, you got your 80% that are average. You got, you know, your 10% exceptional, and your 10%, you know, that are trash at whatever job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so most people like their job because they're good at it. Um, they can do it. It's not really stressful to actually do the job, but getting to and from work, like I know for me, the most frustrating part of my job was the commute back home. Not even the commute to work, the commute back home. Like when I'm done with work, I want to be done. Like you see what I'm saying? Like, and then I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
got to commute half
After
hour,
having after having a
40
long
miles.
day, you got to
Yeah,
get in the
like,
car and then travel, and that's
yeah.
crazy because we know folks that work hour 2 hours away from, like,
Wherever they working at, like
which
so.
gotta be stressful.
Yeah,
I saw
so
someone on IG post a statistic. I don't remember what the number was, but it was some sort of a measurement they did about how happier people are the closer, not only that they work, the closer they live to where they work, but also that all their shopping and everything is in their immediate area. But here's the question I want to ask you, and not just you, but for anybody listening or anybody watching this on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're streaming it. The question I have is this: how much of your salary would you be willing to give up for the ability to work from home exclusively? So let's just throw a number out
I
there. Let's say
mean,
you're making 100K a year, right? How
I,
much of that would you be
I
willing to
can
give
tell
away
you,
to work from
I can
home?
tell you
What's the
exactly
what's
how
the,
much
what's
I'd
the
be
number?
willing to give away,
What's the
which is
number?
all of it. Because
No, that's not what I'm saying, bro. I'm not talking about just quitting your job and doing your own thing. I'm talking about
okay, all right. So
to
if
still get
if
a
I want
salary.
to keep a job or I'm
Mhm.
gonna keep something in the same field, how much of my salary would I be giving? Well, it depends on my bills, right? So, um, I'm gonna say maxed out 25% though.
You would be 25%.
Maxed out.
Okay. All right.
Um,
So no, that's the answer. I wasn't trying to be slick with like, well, what about this and what about that? I just want to know, like, is there a percentage you can just think about off the top of your head that I'll be willing to give this back if I never had to show my face there, or
Maxed out
or
25% though, because
even if I
I
had to come
still
in like
gotta
once
get
a week or
paid.
once a quarter, whatever it may be, how much would I be willing to give back? I think that is interesting to see because outside of this article led me down a rabbit hole and a couple different Twitter threads. I know that sounds crazy, Twitter threads, but that's where I was. That's where I found the info. Um, where people were saying, "Yo, I'm taking a 20K pay cut, but I'm working from home," or "I'm taking a 10K pay cut, but I'm working from home." Like people are literally willing to take pay cuts to work from home. And then I saw something on LinkedIn where a guy who was a recruiter was talking about companies using this work from home thing as a way to actually get better employees. Like they're going to the quote unquote tech firms that have like the big brains that work there and are basically offering them opportunities, lower
To
pay,
work
but
from home.
yeah, and folks are willing to jump at it. So for everybody listening or watching, how much, as a percentage or a dollar amount, would you be willing to give back for the ability to not have to get up and go into work every day? I think
Yeah,
that's interesting to see what the response to that will be.
yeah,
Um,
I'll be willing to give away a sizable portion. Like I said, I cut my salary by a quarter um to work from home, to be able to, use my own bathroom and eat my
yeah,
own food and
no, I get it.
you know,
The commute can be problematic. Like working from home is an amazing thing when you just, especially depending upon your job though, right? I understand the idea of having to teach like people and being in front of them. That's a little different, but I guess it depends upon your job too. But this paranoia is a real thing too, because
no,
again,
it's 100% a thing.
a lot of times it's them trying to justify their salaries though. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Let's
because
be
middle
really real.
management is, if you're like, if people are managing themselves, then what are you there for,
There
right?
we go.
So the thing is this though, right? A lot of companies don't have clear objectives for their employees, and so that's another thing, right? They don't have clear
Hmm.
objectives, and they don't have clear um
I think what you just said is in my opinion more profound than maybe even you recognize. Repeat what you said about the companies. Repeat what you
Yeah,
said.
companies don't have clear objectives for their employees. They have a job description. They don't have clear objectives for those employees, right? So the like a way for companies to have people be able to work at home and still be able to manage what they do is for them to have clear objectives for their employees, right? So if you have a clear objective and clear, how you write an outline where you got an objective and then you got the points underneath where if you achieve these things, then you should reach the objective.
Mm-hmm.
Companies don't have it. And so the reason why these companies are struggling with at-home employees because they don't have a clear direction for those employees to go. They don't have a clear like, look, if you accomplish this, and that, I don't care how much time it takes. You see what
Man,
I'm saying? Like, if you have these four things to accomplish, and they're all accomplished at the rate that we want them accomplished, that, and we all come together and we decide together that that's the objective and the clear goals to those objectives, and those things get accomplished. It's not like make the objectives stringent. You know what I mean? Like, so look, we want to meet our quarter one sales goal plus 10%. These are the objectives that we need to do to reach our
yeah,
goals plus 10%. And so the objective is to get plus 10% on the thing. And then you have steps that you need to take to do that. If all of
yeah.
those steps are being met, you can work from anywhere in the world and still be able to accomplish anything.
So it's about the work, right, and not just the micromanaging. I get what you're saying, and I think I told you the reason that when you said that it caught me is because I was thinking about that. Even as someone who's worked as a manager, you have to have clear objectives with the people that report to you in terms of what the expectations are. And a lot of times, you're right. People just get up and go to work every day, and they're not all on the same page or working towards a common
Nobody's
goal.
on the same page.
But that's
Everybody's
powerful.
doing their part, but nobody's working together toward the bigger objective, bigger goal. Like, nobody cares. Like, because the managers are not, and the companies, I'm not even going to put it on the managers. The companies
Hmm.
are not forcing these, you have to put your team on on the path to do whatever it is you want to accomplish.
Yeah, leadership starts from the top down, right? So everybody has to be on the same page.
Everybody had to be on the same page. But the thing is, if you have clear objectives for your employees, that means you have to have them for yourself. And most people don't want to be held accountable. And that's the thing, right?
Here we
Because
go.
if all your employees are not meet, see the thing is, if you got 4 or 5 employees, you can go through 2 or 3 cycles and see that people who are meeting their objectives and who are not. It's actually easier to manage people when you have clear objectives and goals.
Here's the last thing I want to add to this equation, right? To this conversation, because and this is not just for Corey, but for anybody listening or watching. I'd like to get your thoughts on this too. Is this something where it's just part of culture now? Like, is the cat out the bag? Did the pandemic make it so you can't put this back? Like, will we ever have a time where everybody's in the office? Because work from home was already a thing, but
No,
not at this magnitude. So is it
no,
something where it's out the bag now and you can't put it
cat
back?
out the bag. Certain jobs just don't need people to be there all the time. Like these developers and people like that like you can do that job. I don't gotta drive 2 hours to come to an office to get on the computer and do the same thing I can do from my bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, why am I driving 2 hours? Am I the best at my job or not? Do you have a clear objective and a goal for me to meet so that you know that I'm doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing? Whether or not I can meet that goal in an hour or if it takes me 6 days, it doesn't matter. Can I meet the goals and objectives of the company? Now, once we've reached that goal of objective, all we have to do is set another one, which gives me continuous work.
Yeah.
But then that's also something that puts the onus on the companies again to have clear objectives and goals. So the reason why these people, have this paranoia is because you don't have, look, I can measure, I was taught when I was in the service, whatever can be measured can be done. If you can measure it, you can do it. So my thing is put measurable objective goals there and then work toward those measurable objective goals.
All right, let's
ahead.
leave it at that, man. I just want to leave it at that. No, I get the point. I don't want to butcher your point. Like, I get it. I just want to make sure that I want to have some goals for this episode, right? So for everybody listening to watching, I want you to answer.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, do that too. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And before I ask the questions I want to ask, I want to say this, that for those who don't know, our membership group, MDC, the MDC strategy group is not just by the hood. It's us in conjunction with some other investors, traders and the like, have put together this community. And we it's been around for a little while, but it was $99 a month. We've actually just reduced it back to $30, literally $1 a day. And the logic in reducing it is just to charge what we need to basically operate the business. But also to make it so you never have to come out of pocket. So it's literally $1 a day now. You can go to mdcstrategy.com. I will put the link for that in the show notes as well as the description. If you're watching the video, you'll probably see it scroll at the bottom of the screen, but it's mdcstrategy.com. That is our new look membership site. I want to say that. Now, the last thing I want to say before we get out of here is this. Some questions that I want you guys to answer. And you can send it to me inbox, by the hood. You can leave the YouTube comment. You can, however you get in touch with us. How much of your salary would you be willing to give up if you can work exclusively from home? That's the first question. And the second question is, do you think that this is just part of our world now? Is the cat out the bag? Will we never go back to everybody being in the office 5 days a week? Like, will this continue? Go ahead, Corbett. Will this continue to grow with more folks being able to work from home, even post-pandemic? What did you want to add, Cor?
And do you have clear and measurable goals at your job or work or whatever?
Great question. Does your job have clear and measurable goals in terms of what you are trying to accomplish
for you specifically, for your productivity?
Absolutely. So those are great questions right there. We'll leave you with those questions. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate the support as always. As we always say, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. Game elevates. We'll see you guys in our next episode. Peace.